गणैते दोषा गुणनेशना पावी गणैते दोषा जब तुम करवी विचार जब तुम करवी मनुष्य पशु बाकी जे जनामी अथवा कीटा पतंगे
Ajnanam timirandasya Jnananjana salakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Guruchandraya Radhikaya Chudalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namaha Yam Pravajana Manupeta Krita Vaipayano Viramaka Taruvajuhava Putri-pitam Mayatayam Taravogamidu Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Manimanatosmi Bhaktya-vinila Aparadavashay Chittasya Kamadi Tarangamadi Kripamayitvam Sharanam Prende Namaste Sharanarvindam Tavarashmi Najimani Chambina Iti Vidyarade Tam Naramam Charanam. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Asto to the Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nityalila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pad, Asto to the Sat Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. To our Param Gurudev, Srila Bhakti began Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all his divine associates, and to all these assembled devotees. So Sripad Siddhanti Maharaj requested me to speak first. And usually, as those of you who come here regularly know, we generally have the guests speak first. But it's easy for me to speak first because I'm just considering that it's Maharaj's temple and I'm just a guest. That makes it easy. So his themes have been in the class that I attended in the morning and then in the class that I heard about when the devotees returned from the program last night. It's been responsibility. What is a sevak as opposed to a volunteer? Being mature in our sense of responsibility to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission as coming through our Guru Varga. So in service to that, I was remembering one verse that both of our Shiksha Guru, Srila Bhakti began Bharati Goswami Maharaj, explains very beautifully. Etavaj janma safalyam dehinam iha dehisu pranayarthardiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. Sada means always. So how often do I want to do what in order to perfect my life, make my life supple or successful? Etavaj, up to the top, limit. Janma safalyam, in order to perfect one's life. Those who have this human form of life will do welfare work to all embodied beings in all species of life with one's life, means every second, sada. And what kind of benefit? Shreya acharanam sada. Shreya means real welfare. There's two kinds of benefits. There's prayas and shreyas. So prayas is immediate, false happiness that ends and turns into disaster, as all happiness in this material world does. And shreyas is long-term happiness. It's the happiness of the soul. So shreya acharanam, with all of my behavior. Sripad Maharaj was speaking about behavior also yesterday. What kind of behavior do I want to have on a regular basis? Accepting responsibility. Not listening to what my mind says, but following. That is, seeing everything through the eye of Scripture. So that's what we're talking about. So how do I serve all living beings to give them the highest welfare? Pranayar, by giving my whole life. Then when I'm walking down the street, when I'm walking in the backyard, when I'm going anywhere, I'll chant loudly so that all the trees and bugs, butterflies will benefit. Now on the one hand, we hear that, speaking of butterfly, I asked Srila Gurudev that we know that the pure devotees chanting is just like throwing a big stone into a pond. And it reaches the far ends of the pond. So the pure devotees chanting travels across the universe to purify it. So what about us when we chant? And he said, oh, that's like throwing a butterfly wing into the pond. Doesn't do much. Then, that was in Costa Rica. Then in Italy, he told all the devotees to go out for Harinam Sankirtan. And I asked Gurudev, what happened to the butterfly wing? Like, what benefit can we give? And he said, when it's the order of the Guru, of the pure devotee, his power goes out with you. So pranar artire, my wealth, whatever wealth I have really doesn't belong to me. Just like Prabhupada gave the example of a trucker. He's riding the company truck, doing some errand, and then all of a sudden he thinks, why should I do this? I should take this truck to the beach and just spend a week there. So what will happen? What will happen is that the company will find out, fire him, fine him, put him in jail, and so forth. So all my wealth doesn't belong to me, even my body, my mind, my intelligence. I'm claiming it to be me, but it's really not. And it's really not mine either. Everything belongs to Krishna, and so it's used for the owner, for the benefit of all beings. Pranaya Artha Diya. Oh, well, I don't have any money. But, wait a second. I know somebody who's a billionaire, and he can help with Mahaprabhu's mission. Here's his number. So I don't have money, but I'm offering my intelligence. And then Vacha. I don't have much intelligence either, but I can repeat the words that I've heard from my Guru Varga and that I've read in the scriptures. And then, doing the Shreya, I can give temporary false happiness by doing some mundane charity, or I can give real happiness, the happiness of the soul, which frees all beings from the cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. And how often? Sada. That's how I can perfect my life. So, who said this verse anyway? Anybody know? I'm sure Maharaj knows, but the person who said this verse is Krishna himself. See, he had just stolen the garments of the gopis, and now he's walking through the forest with the cowherd boys, Devaprastha, Subal, Sridham, and others. And he said, oh, cowherd boys, naming their names, just look at these trees. Everything about the tree is meant for the welfare of others. Its bark, its wood, even its ashes when it's burnt down, its leaves, its fruits, its flowers, its shade. As Srila Prabhupada added, even if a woodcutter comes to cut down the tree gives its sweet fruits and flowers to him. So even in the rain, Krishna is telling the cowherd boys, even in the rain, even in the snow, I don't know if it snows there, but that was there in the translation. Even if it snows, in the heat, the trees tolerate everything to give their everything to others. So why not be like the trees? That's Krishna's encouragement. So Maharaj gave some examples the other day of some great devotees in our Guru Varga who gave everything and got the benefits. Srila Gurudev also gives the example of Valmiki. Do you know that he was a murderer? He used to thank you for clapping so that I would get Sakritis by wearing the deity's garland. So he was a murderer, and Gurudev said he used to even take the Brahmins that he killed, and he had a whole barrel full of Brahma's thread. So then he saw Narada Muni, and he was going to kill Narada Muni. But Narada Muni said, stop. And he stopped. And he wondered, why did I stop? Just because he said stop. So a few minutes later, he realized that Narada is not an ordinary person. And Narada, long story short, he surrendered to Narada, and he chanted. He couldn't chant Ram because he was so sinful. So Narada, being a very smart guru, he said, chant Mara, meaning death. Mara, Rama, Rama, became Rama. And for 60,000 years, he was chanting Ram. the ants came and ate up his body, and it grew ant hills around him, but he just kept chanting because he was so dedicated to doing this service for his guru. And then he became the great Valmiki, whose Ramayana purifies the whole world. So this is the benefit of, and he himself entered the pastimes of Lord Ram. So the devotees who came back from the program last night, I said, well, what should I talk about that would be in Maharaj's theme? He said, why not, they said, why not share anything about Srila Prabhupada, how he made all of us like drug addicts, hippies, meat eaters, you name it, we were it. And he turned us into people with a great pioneer spirit. Everything we read, everything we discussed in class, like I remember we were reading Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila chapter 7, speaking about the mercy of the Panchatattva. That the more the Panchatattva tasted the fruits of love of God, the more their thirst for it grew. The more they distributed, the more the supply increased hundreds of times, unlike some material thing. So just any sentence like that, and just Srila Prabhupada's being, because of his compassion with which he came from the Nikunjas to this world of New York City to begin his international movement. And he gave us the pioneer spirit. Once in 1968, I asked him that, we were in Boston by this time, and I asked him, so it's the time of the Vietnam War, and young men were being drafted, even though they were less than suitors, they were being drafted to go and be pretend Kshatriyas. So they would draft people left and right, including students. And Prabhupada, out of his compassion, he said, yes, I'm getting religious, what do you call it? Huh? Religious exemption for all of my students, that they don't have to go. So, but in Boston University, one student was drafted, so he took shelter in the university sanctuary, and the students were picketing against the war around the building. So I asked Prabhupada, is it all right if we join them so that they'll know that the Hare Krishnas are nice people and support them. So Prabhupada wrote to me that if you want to go there, no harm to go, but go with your Back to Godheads magazines, not to help them picket, because the warmongers and the peacemongers are all on the same page. They're all, in their own way, they all want God to be the order supplier. God is the order giver. Man mana bhava mad bhakta, always think of me, become my devotee, offer your homage unto me. Worship me, you'll come to me, I promise you this because you're my very dear friend. But they want Krishna to be the order supplier. One by peace, and that way we'll have our sense gratification. The other one by war, we'll make money on the ammunition and so forth. So in every single way he was pushing us. He said, I'm whipping them. Distribute books, distribute books, distribute books. Even if a person, he said, what will your 3 minutes talk do? If they read one line of the book, their whole life can be transformed. So we were pushed by him in that way of a sense of pioneer spirit. So my understanding is what Maharaj is trying to do here now in his theme is give us that same pioneer spirit. Not that, well, the movement is already spread all over the world, what can I do? I'm nothing. But he's expressing that whatever talent we have, whatever ability we have, whatever skill we have, pranaya artar diya vacha, engage that in the service of the Lord's mission, because that's why we were created. Who am I? I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I'm not this body. These responsibilities are not mine. This is not my family. This is not my my birthplace. Whoever thinks that this place of his birth is his place of birth. He's no better than Gokara, no better than an ass or a cow. And what verse were we learning this morning? Those who are here? Naham vipro na chanarapati na pivaisho na sudro naham vani na chagrihapati na vanasta jatirva kintu prodyan paramanandamak kintu prodyan paramananda purnamritabdir Gopi Bhartu Padakamalayo Dasa Dasanu Dasa. I'm not a Brahmin. I'm not a Kshatriya. I'm not a Vaishya. I'm not a Sudra. I'm not a Brahmachari. I'm not a Grihastha. I'm not a Vanaprastha. And I'm not a sannyasi. Who am I? I'm the servant, the insignificant. My only identity is that of an insignificant servant of the servants of the servants of the lotus feet of Sri Krishna, who is the ever-expanding ocean of fully nectarian transcendental bliss, and who is renowned as he who was maintained by the gopis. So there's so much more to say that I would have said, but let's really get to the basic realization speech, and I'm going to turn it over to Maharaj.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurum Litam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Gurave Gauri Chandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namah Kalinditan Tataya Spuradamanda Vrindavanam Vihaya Lavanamudam Pulinda Pushpa Vatim Gatha Ditu Aruna Patu Supita Vasa Haris Tirohita Nija Shavi Shri Gauranga Umegatim Radha Chinta Niveshinam Yasya Kanti Vilopita Shri Krishna Charanam Vande Radha Lingitam Vikraham Bhaktya Vihinaya Parad Lakshay Shiptasya Kamadi Tarang Mande Kripa Maitam Sharanam Prapanna Vrinde Namaste Charanar Vindam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Everyone, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. One more time, loudly please. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. My humble obeisances at the divine lotus feet of my Guru Maharaj, Litla Vishnu Vishnu Bharastota Shri Shrimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Gosai Maharaj. Similarly to my Shiksha Gurudevs, Nitla Vishnu Vishnu Bharastota Shad Bhakti Vedanta Shila Narayan Gosai Maharaj and Nitla Vishnu Vishnupad Bhakti Vigyan Shila Bharti Gosai Maharaj. My humble obeisances to Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada and all his prominent associates, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragyani Keshar Gosai Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Raksha Sridhar Gosai Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Daita Madhav Gosai Maharaj, and Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada. To Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his associates, to Shri Radha Govind Dev and all his parikars, to all assembled Vaishnav and Vaishnavis, headed by my senior, Srimati Shamrani Didi. My humble obeisances to all of you. Okay. 12:30. So beautifully Didi described the preaching movement at the time of Srila Prabhupada, and Didi was one of them. The pioneer preachers distributing books and the theme what I was thinking today, hearing this bhajan, Shri Radha Krishna Pranamor Yugal Kishore. All these wonderful devotees, when we see the documentary of Srila Prabhupada, how they sacrificed so much, sacrificing so much, valuing that sacrifice of Srila Prabhupada. Something today we have to learn. If we don't value the sacrifice, treasure the sacrifice of our acharyas, then we can't think of progressing in our bhakti. Very straight. What are the sacrifices they've done? Starting from the Goswamis of Vrindavan. Tvattva turnam ashesh mandalapatim shrenim sada tuchavad bhutva deen ganesh kau karanaya kopin kanthashrito gopi bhav rasam ratavalari kallolo magno muhur vande roop sanatano bhatajugau shijiva gopalako. On a scale, if we keep the contribution of all the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and on the other scale, if we keep the contribution of the Goswamis, intimate associate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they all are associates, but the scale of the Goswamis, of the associates of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the 6 Goswamis, is higher. Every associate of Mahaprabhu very dear to him. But the relationship of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu with Nityanand Prabhu, with Sri Advaitacharya Prabhu, with Sri Gadadhar Pandit, Shivas, and many others, Sri Jagdanand Pandit, is not same. There is very fine line. They all participated in the Rath Yatra and all the pastimes of Mahaprabhu. But imagine what the 6 Goswamis have done. What is the sacrifice? They have given up, prior to meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have given up all their riches. Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, his opulence was like opulence of the Indra. Sri Narottam Thakur, rich landlord. Sri Rup Goswami, Sri Sanatan Goswami, and high posts like ministers, prime ministers. They rejected everything. Tattva turnam ashesh mandalapatim shrenim sada tuchchavat. Insignificant. Very insignificant, like a straw. All this great wealth, opulence, everything for meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to be with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to get the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. They sacrifice everything. Sri Gopal Bhatt Goswami, everything. Tomorrow is appearance day. Everything they rejected. This is one category of sacrifice. But try to understand. There's another level of sacrifice. And what is that? but to obey the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu sent them to Vrindavan for 4 orders. And what they have given up? The association, physical association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Other associates, they were along with Mahaprabhu. They are participating in dancing and singing, and they are seeing everything, all are sattvic bhav. Shri Sarup Damodar, Shri Ramanand Rai Gambhira. Mahaprabhu is tasting and relishing those high moods. Ei matra dine dine Sarup Ramanand Sane. Nij bhav kare na vidit. Bhare vishay jwala hoye bhitre anandamay Krishna prem adbhut charitra. Astonishing feature of Krishna prem. Externally appearing that he's in pain, crying and weeping. But internally is extracting that bliss in the association of Shri Sarup Damodar and Shri Ramanand Rai, and they're all witnessing this. Shri Haridas Thakur, Shri Nityan Prabhu dancing with Mahaprabhu, everyone. But what the Goswamis were doing? Obeying the order of Mahaprabhu. To please him, they sacrificed that association. And that's why Shri Rup Sanatan, they became the heart of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Senapati, commander-in-chief of the army of Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu used to ask, how's Rup Sanatan doing? How they are doing? Always concerned about them. They have tadatme, oneness with Mahaprabhu. So to obey the order of Mahaprabhu, what high, great sacrifice they have done. Value that sacrifice. Following the footsteps of the Goswamis, then all other acharyas also. Shri Narottam Shamnu Srinivas Prabhu. Narottam Thakur is weeping. Kabe hame herebo Shri Vrindavan. Rupa Raghunatha Pade Haive Akuti Kabe hame jabo se Yugala Piriti Rupa Raghunatha Pade Rahu Morasha Pratana Karo Yeshada Narotamoda. Understand the gravity of his lamentation. To please Shri Rupa Raghunath means the Goswamis. Shri Narottam Shamnu Srinivas Prabhu. They are the one who started the preaching. What is they sacrificing? They're sacrificing the most life and soul of their heart, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Who wants to leave Vrindavan Dham? And the physical association. Again I'm saying the physical association, not the other. They are always tuned and have oneness, tadatme. But who wants to leave the association of Shri Jiva Goswami? Who wants to leave that? Who wants to leave the association of Rup Raghunath, Rup Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami? But 3 Prabhutrais, Shri Shamnu, Shri Narottam Shamnu Srinivas Prabhutrai, they did this for pleasing their Ishta, their worshipable Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To please their worshipable Shri Jiva Goswami, Shri Rup Goswami. Spreading the message of Shri Rup Goswami. So the entire world can know what my Rup Prabhu, what is his glories. The entire world will see this. This sacrifice is high level of sacrifice in comparison of what sacrifice they have done in their previous times, means rejecting family, post, all that. That's insignificant. This sacrifice is very high level. For that, we need big heart, big inspiration. Pleasing my worshipable is the only goal of my life. Atmendra priti vancha tate bole kam. Krishna indra priti vancha dhare prema naam. Because they have so much love for Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So anything which makes Mahaprabhu please. Shri Loknath Goswami, Bhugar Goswami, Shri Loknath Goswami. Mahaprabhu immediately gave order to him and immediately he left Mahaprabhu. To obey the order, came to Vrindavan Dham. Srila Bhakti Gyan Bharti Goswami Maharaj said, Shri Loknath Goswami instructed Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami not to write my name. And that's why we don't see so much of his details. Direct order. So, value that sacrifice and following the footsteps of all these Rupanuga Kuruvargas, Shri Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who wanted to come to Vrindavan Dham but he got stopped on the way. No, you have to discover the birthplace of Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. If we start understanding everyone's contribution is so high. Even though Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, I never leave Mayapur Dham. I'm always in Mayapur Dham. But to spread the mission of Mahaprabhu, he came to Calcutta, traveled all over India, established 64 centers. I'm only speaking about the physical association. Mayapur Dham, which is so dear to Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada, his life and soul. This is our parampara. This is our lineage. And then coming to, as I said, all acharyas, but right now I'm just focusing on two Bhakti Vedantas. Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Shri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Vrindavan is my home. Don't want to leave Vrindavan Dham. Asakti tad vasati sthale. Rupa Goswami is saying Bhakti Sama Sindhu. Shanti avyart kalattam virakti man shunyata आशा बंद समुत्कंठे नाम गाने सदा रुचि असक्ति तद गुणाख्याने प्रीति तद वसति स्थले. There's so much attached to Shri Vrindavan Dham, Srila Prabhupada. But following the footsteps of the Goswamis, the same standard, giving up the sacrificing, more dear than their life, Shri Vrindavan Dham. Who wants to live Vrindavan Dham? So treasure that sacrifice. Came to this country full of enjoyment, seeing naked people around. Can you imagine Vrindavan Dham and here? What a sacrifice. Srila Gurudev, throughout his life, stayed in Braj, always imbibed with the mood of Braj Bhav. This is what he was spreading among Brajvasis. Staying in Braj, Brajvasis don't know the glories of Brajvas. And Gurudev was promoting the vichar, the philosophy of Shri Rupa Goswami, Shri Raghunath Das Goswami amongst the Brajvasis. And he became so famous in Braj. But then again, fulfilling the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu for the mission of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, sacrificing that the most dear place of his residence, Mathura Vrindavan Dham. Those who live in Vrindavan, they can tell, we are ordinary conditioned soul sadhakas. Even then, if you stay 10 years in Vrindavan, you feel so much attached to Vrindavan. With no mood, no feelings, no emotions, still, Vrindavan Dham is like a magnet, pulls you. But leaving Shri Vrindavan Dham is a big sacrifice. Value that sacrifice of Srila Gurudev and Srila Prabhupada. Value that. It's so important. If we're not valuing this, we can't understand their glories. This is our Guru Parampara. Braj Bhav, association of Shri Vrindavan Dham, is such that that's the place of the highest, the topmost enjoyer, the residence of topmost enjoyer. Bhokta Ram. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the Bhokta, I am the enjoyer. But that enjoyer, the topmost enjoyer, with the association of Braj Bhav, he turns out to the topmost renunciate. Kalindi Tanatataya Surad Amanda Vrindavanam Vihaya Lavanambudim Pulinda Pushpa Vatim Kata. One who was playing sporty pastimes in Vrindavan. Who? Krishna, the Supreme. With his associates, with his gopis, with his Radharani. But the glories of the association of Shri Radharani, that means the glories of the association of Braj Bhav, he turns out to, he land from the sweet water of Jamuna. From there he comes to the ocean of salt water. Shri Prabodhan Saraswati Thakur writing this verse. Kalindi Tanatataya Suradamanda Vrindavanam. Enjoying in Vrindavan. But the glories of Shri Vrindavan Dham and the glories of the association of Braj Bhav is that he became the topmost renunciate. Sachinandan Gaur Hari, Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, were on the bank of ocean, salt water. Where is Kalindi and where is salt water? But he can't stay without Vrindavan Dham. Vihaya Lavanambudim, even though on the shore of the ocean, Pulin Pushpa Vatim Gata, he found a beautiful garden, not different from Vrindavan. Jagannath Vallabh Udyan. And there Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, means Krishna, Radha Bhav Duti Savalitam Nami Krishna Sarupam, that Krishna who embraced the mood and complexion of Shri Radharani. That Krishna is now in Jagannath Vallabh Udyan, which is not different from Vrindavan, and remembering those pastimes of Vrindavan. Who? Krishna himself, but as Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Relishing this, Gopi Geet, Tav Kathamritam Tapta Jivanam, Kavi Vediritam Kalmashapaham, Shavana Mangalam Shivan Atmatam, Bhumi Grananti Te Bhurida Janam. Mahaprabhu don't want to see King Pratap Rudra. When he heard this verse, immediately stood up and embraced him. So much absorption in that Vrindavan Dham. And what else? Dit Aruna Pat Supit Vasa Haris. In Vrindavan Dham, he was wearing pitambar, yellow garment. but he has to sacrifice that. And as topmost renunciate, Gaur Mahaprabhu, Sannyasi Shiromani, the crest jewel of all sannyasis, giving up that, sacrificing, giving up that yellow garment, which was the pride in Vrindavan. The peacock feather, flute, and the yellow garment is now turned out to saffron, sannyas. With Arun Vastra, this Arun Vastra, this color. Tirohita Nijashavi. And there in Vrindavan he was dark complexion, Sham complexion. Why Sham and dark complexion? Any reason or just randomly? Because he enjoy Adyaras, Madhuras. And for that, dark complexion is very essential. Without that, not possible. And that's why he asked for complexion of Radharani. What is the need? What was the need? Only mood was enough. But that mood of Radharani, to relish that mood of Radharani, the complexion, that golden complexion, the kanchan is very important. So in Vrindavan, also this is pride of dark complexion. But when he came to Jagannath Puri, Tirohita Nijashavi, he once sacrificed, he gave up that dark complexion. She Gauranga me gati. He becomes Gauranga. Gauranga. One who was the enjoyer, he became the most renounced person, the topmost renounced.
Excuse me. Ready? Why do you keep glorifying Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as such a great renunciate, what he gave up? Because according to Narahari Sarakara, he's actually the same cheater, Krishna, but Krishna just cheated some. Mahaprabhu cheated everyone. He's the same Krishna, now be fully embraced by what he always wanted to do in Vrindavan, what he couldn't always do. Plus, he gave up his yellow cloth. Now he's wearing a saffron cloth, but what is that? It's his yellow cloth mixed with the kumkum of Srimati Radhika, and that's a permanent fixture now. So why are you glorifying him so much?
Because I like him. Because that's the theme. He's a cheater. He begged, he borrowed from Radharani. Not only he stole, but he actually also begged and borrowed. Gurudev said, not much, just 48 years. I am borrowing from you, your complexion and your moods. And she is very karunamayi. She is very merciful. She always fulfilled all the desires of Krishna. And he also begged, na pareham nirvadhi samvijam. So sadhu kritta vibuddhi ushapiva. I beg. So beg, borrow, steal. He applied 3. And that's why I'm glorifying him, because I'm trying to understand this. From the words of Prodans of Sri Thakur, glorifying Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, how Krishna, in that mood of Radharani, how is in Shri Jagannath Puri Dham, from that arena of rasa dance, physically sporting with the gopis, but now in Jagannath Puri Dham, he's meditating on that. not as physically he's sporting with the gopis, but meditating on that. As I was saying, Shri Rupa Goswami, the Goswamis, they're always in their meditation seeing all the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If they're seeing the pastime of Radha Krishna, they're also seeing the pastime of Mahaprabhu. But they are seeing that, they're meditating on that, but physically they're not there. So they sacrifice a physical association. And I'm bringing up this point, similarly how our acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev, my Guru Maharaj, all others, how they physically, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ordered his army. They want to be with Srila Prabhupada on a special occasion. As Srila Bharati Maharaj said, the Srila Bhaktivedanta Madhav Goswami Maharaj, he came with his luggage to be with Srila Prabhupada on the day of Janmashtami to spend the day with his Guru Maharaj. The moment he kept his bag, Srila Prabhupada said, immediately go. That's the sacrifice I'm just trying to touch. The physical association. But what is that? What inspired that physical, giving up that physical association? To please them, which is more important. Coming to that point where I started yesterday. Krishna indi priti vancha dhare premanam. Pleasing the senses of my worshipable is the only and supposed to be the only goal of my life. Pleasing them. And that's why I just try to connect this with this verse from Krishna renouncing and landing up Shri Jagannath Puri Dham and gave up all those facilities which he was having in Shri Vrindavan Dham.
Yes, I have a question actually.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering, this isn't a trick question, but people might say, I really love to make such a sacrifice, but I have so many obligations to this, that, and the other thing. I wonder if you could touch on that verse, Devarshi Bhutaptananam Putrino, to answer that.
So Didi is giving me an order to touch this verse from Bhagavatam. Dev Rishi Bhutatma Nirnam Pitrinam Na Kinkaram Na Rini Charajan Sarvatma Ya Sharanam Gata Mukundam Parihitya Kritam. Moment we take birth, we have some obligations towards demigods, devatas. How? We're getting sunlight, and this is sunshine state. We're getting oxygen. We're getting all facilities from the nature for survival. We are obliged to demigods who supplying this. And Srila Bharati Maharaj used to say, for any facility we use from the government, we pay mobile bill, electricity. And what we are getting from nature? Where is the payment? So we are obliged to demigods. Dev, Rishi and the sadhus, we are obliged to them. Why obliged to them? Because of their sacrifice. They are doing so much for us. They are training us. They are speaking to us, inspiring us to follow the righteous path. They themselves following, and then they are practicing, and then with realization teaching us, maintaining the stability in the society. Otherwise, everyone is very simple. They're bound. They are very simply, they just want to live a sinful life. But only by hearing from sadhus, we get little fear. And we protect ourselves. No. I have to be very good, not a bad person. So we are obliged to sadhus for many reasons. Then we are obliged to forefathers. Our parents, they've given us birth. We are obliged to the king. Otherwise, there's going to be killing and murders everywhere. So law and order is there. We are obliged to our relatives and family members. Everyone born with his 5 obligations. But how are we going to pay each of them? It's so difficult. Just to repay one amongst these 5, it needs the whole lifetime. Even then we can't. Is there any shortcut? Yes. Gata mukundam parhitya kritam. Surrender to Mukunda means Krishna. All other obligations are being taken care of. No need to repay each and every of these individuals. Demigods, forefathers, king, subjects, everyone. Gata mukundam parhitya kritam. Surrender to Mukunda. How to surrender to Mukunda? Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja. Krishna is promising, ma shucha, ma shucha, ma shucha. Don't fear, don't fear, don't fear. I'm here to take care of everything. If you think there is any loss, ma shucha. Boldly he is claiming this, promising this. And it's not a promise of an ordinary personality. Supreme Lord is promising this. Where is the doubt in this promise? So, there are so many obligations. Yes, we have. But we can make our lifestyle in such a way that all obligations get centered to Krishna. All our activities from morning till night for the next day, if it is centered more or less to Krishna, then it is Krishna priti vancha dhare premnam. To please his senses, to please him. Sacrifices also for pleasing him. Krishna arthe akhil bhog tyag. For the sake of Krishna, sacrificing my enjoyments. Krishna acknowledged this. Yesterday one lady came in the program. Yes? She, I don't know from where she came, but she took 2 buses and then she walked just to hear Hari Katha. Imagine. Is Krishna not acknowledging this? What is the purpose of her coming there? She wanted to attend the program. Even though she came late because of travel and she walked all the way. Long walk.
Night.
In the night. Krishna acknowledging all of your sacrificing. As many steps as you from home to here. What is the purpose of coming center? To please the senses of Krishna. He get pleased when we hear topics about him. So, no pain, no gain. Something we have to give up to attain. We are here to extract bliss, not only just happiness. Happiness is just with mind. But we are here for bliss, which is something more than happiness. And for that, something we have to give up. What we have to give up? Not good things, just the bad things. Sense enjoyment. And what we get in return? Something big reward. Bliss. Pratipadam purna amrita swadanam. Bliss, bliss and bliss and bliss. So, these are obligations. But Gata Mukundam Parihitya Kritam. Surrender to Bhagwan Mukunda. Surrender means how? Coming here every Sunday, serving, hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, fasting on the day dear to Krishna, Ekadashi, observing his appearance days, watering Tulasi, touching Tulasi, and most important, association, hearing from higher authorities, hearing from Didi. Yes.
Why just Sunday?
Why just Sunday? Because people only get off on Sunday. Whereas we should do every day. Do you all eat on Sunday only? That's the food for the body. But here's the food for the soul. If we can come every day, nothing like that, hearing 1 hour Harikatha. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada used to, when he opened the center, it was just like a rented house. The first center of Srila Prabhupada in Calcutta. A rented house. Where all our Guru Vargas used to come from their work, walking and hearing every evening Srila Prabhupada speaking Harikatha. Every single sacrifice what we do is acknowledged by Krishna. Choice is ours. This is something which we have choice. If we choose this, we get reward. If we choose to go to beach, that's a different story. Yeah. Yes, Didi? Anything? So I just wanted to express my thanks by saying all that. I don't know what devotee said to Didi about the class yesterday, what I spoke, I don't know.
About the lady.
That's the last ever.
Huh? No, I just heard that. I spoke something yesterday. It's good it was not on live. And I don't know what they reported to Didi about the class. But the only my focus is, please value that sacrifice of preachers. In the middle of this city, which is a city of enjoyment. Yeah? I heard yesterday someone saying, the city of rich people and city of tourists, we are just slaves here working so much. City of enjoyment, that means city of hell. It's just like, in a pond full of mud, and there is one beautiful lotus which is not touching the mud, which is above the mud. In this city of enjoyment, I'm not offending the city, please. It's very beautiful, green, nice weather. But the only objection is the city of enjoyment, and what we have here, a lotus, which is GVO. And the fragrance of this lotus, with a combined effort of all devotees, headed by Shri Shamrani Didi, they are always on the top, there's no doubt. But again, coming to that point, taking this responsibility, value that. Sacrifice, value that sacrifice, what she's doing. Value that sacrifice. She could have stayed in Vrindavan Dham. She loves Vrindavan Dham. Who wants to leave Vrindavan Dham? Who wants to leave Mayapur Dham? It's a place to remember the pastime of Krishna, to read books. But all glories to all these great personalities who's sacrificing this for us, for conditioned souls like us. We have to value that sacrifice. Only just saying thanks is not enough. Value that thanks. And how we can do this? We can give our efforts, our hands, for the reason, for the mission. She is here to make the whole Miami convert to devotees.
That's the aim of everybody, like you were saying. But that's everybody's aim. That all the bars and things get closed and places and everybody comes voting. And then it can happen. I love that you said that yesterday.
Yes, Didi. All the bars close, beaches, everywhere we see Sankirtan going on. Temples around, ringing bells in the morning aartis, in the evening aartis. People going on those temples. Yes, everyone. It can be possible with the mercy of our acharyas. But we have to also sacrifice our time, our efforts in promoting the center, which is like a lotus. So take this fragrance of this lotus everywhere, length and breadth, everywhere. And we all have to be very serious with this. So performing Harinam Sankirtan, distributing books, getting their contacts, call them, invite them again, and again. Oh no, I'm busy this Sunday. Maybe next Sunday. Oh, next Sunday. No, next Sunday. They don't want to come, they have no taste. Keep on pushing them. Please come, please come, please come. If they're not coming, go there with a box of prasad. So you're not coming, we are here to give you just prasad, that's all. Hare Krishna. That prasad will pull them here.
Exactly.
They feel obligation. Oh, they came from so far just to give me 4 laddus? And I want you to give donation? No, we don't need donation from you. That's the policy. Srila Prabhupada used to say, you give them Krishna, they will give you everything. Otherwise, they will think you are here for donations. Just go, drive there in their home, give them prasad, don't take anything from them. Just say, if you really want to value this, please come to our center and hear Hari Katha. That's all. To have lunch with us. That's all. That's how it's going to work. I mean, there are some strategies for preaching. We can, if we apply that, it's going to be, we can attract many devotees. This is how we got trained up in our school days, the beginning of college days in ISKCON, how we used to preach amongst the youngsters, visiting their home, giving them a box on their birthday, and the prasad, just 4 little laddus is enough to pull them coming here. Hare Krishna, Vancha Kaltarubhasya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnaveभ्यो. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
GBO Center Ki. So what next?
And then many devotees here have recited announcements.
So, we'll have a short kirtan now, and then prasadam. Many of us will leave pulling out by 1:15, so hopefully at 1:05 we can be outside gathering Ulugombakar to go to the Rath Yatra. And if any of you aren't going and would like to, wash pots here, that would be wonderful. Otherwise, if everyone is going, we can have a team after Rath Yatra come back and make sure everything's cleaned up here. That's it, right? So, kirtan?
You know what is definition of Uttam Sevak? The best Sevak? I give you one example, 1 minute only. In Jagannath Puri Dham, when Srila Bharati Maharaj Ji was there, and after initiating, there were some boys, brahmacharis, serving him. And it was the day of Gundicha temple, if you're familiar with that. All the boys, brahmacharis, they wanted to go to clean Gundicha temple, and they all asked permission. Maharaj, Gurudev, can we go? He said, why not? Everyone has to go there. So they all went there. Then one brahmachari, he left behind, and Srila Maharaj asked, all brahmacharis went for Gundicha temple cleaning, why you are here? He said, to look after you. And Maharaj smiled. He said, listen, you are Uttam Sevak. And he said, no Maharaj, I am Adham, I am fallen Sevak. And he said, Maharaj, why are you saying like that? He said, because even though they asked my permission to go for something very good, cleaning Gundicha temple, all Vaishnavas are there, but nobody thought, who's going to look after me? They didn't need any offense. With my permission, they went to clean temple. But nobody ever thought, what's going to happen with me if I'm here alone, if I need something? You stayed back just because of me. You sacrificed this. So I announce you are a Uttam Sevak. Understand? Therefore, if we're taking responsibilities of serving the center, we have to become Uttam Sevak. There's another theme we can hear some other time. There's different categories of Sevaks. All Sevaks are not one category. I only touched the point, difference between volunteer and a Sevak. But amongst the Sevak, there are also different categories. There's one called Uttam, then there's Madhyam, then there is Kanishta. And there are more below than Kanishta. Maybe tomorrow. We need to know this because we all have to become Sevakas. Not enjoyers, but servants of the Lord. The servants of the center, servants of the Lord. Very important, the center is a place we are learning. This is our birthplace. Birth of knowing the Siddhanta, knowing the Bhakti. Anyway, I don't want to take much time.
Just if you could take one more second and give the definition of a mutt. Namatanti.
So there are so many temples, very famous temples in Florida. What is the necessity of having this another temple? That question was being asked to me when I was constructing one temple inaugurated by Srila Bharati Maharaji. Some very influential people came and said, we already have in this town, we already have 100 temples. Why are you making one more? Then I explained to them, I asked permission from seniors and they said, you go ahead. I said, there's a difference between temple and the mutt. This is called mutt, means center. What is the difference? Same, deities, darshan. The only difference is, in the temples, there is pure place, no doubt. It's good to go there, no doubt. But there is no one to educate you. There is no one to even tell how we have to pay obeisances to the deities. We just do randomly the way we can. Like if you visit any Hindu temple, you see Hindus, people there, they're just folding their hand and paying obeisances. Or someone is doing left, or someone straight or right. That's not the system. We have to abide by the laws, or we can say following the scriptures. Keeping deities to our left, if we pay obeisances like that, we get the 100% result. Paying obeisances to Gurudev is from straight. Paying obeisances to Krishna, we have to keep them on left. Paying obeisances to any demigoddess, we have to put them on right. If Tulsi, in this way, we get the complete result. Otherwise, no. So temple is a place of having darshan of the deities, seeing deities. I'm sorry to say, even in India, what to speak of outside India? I've been in New York, many other, Seattle, many temples, Hindu temples, I give lectures. I'm very sorry to say, they're not even deities, they're just statues. Why? They're not getting bathing, they're not getting any offerings, they're not getting any puja, any arti. They're just there so that people can visit us and give us donations. I'm very sorry, but this is the truth. And the complete, all deities, Hanuman, Ganesh, everyone, no bathing, no rituals, nothing. Just to decorate the temple. And who's going to explain there what is temple? Ask any priest. I'm not challenging, I'm so sorry. Because in one temple I said like this and two person walked away. You're offending priest. But that's the truth. I'm not scared of saying this. Ask priest there why we call Ram, Krishna or Narayan, which is on the altar, why they're known as Bhagwan. What to speak of Western world? Even in India. I go temples and my devotees ask them, oh Pujari ji, oh priest, why we call them Bhagwan? So because they are Bhagwan, But what is the definition of Bhagwan? They themselves don't know this. If they don't know, how are they going to educate? This is a missing link everywhere, even in India. But if you ask any devotee who's coming to center getting education, hearing about Krishna, so many details about every aspect, every philosophy, very easily can tell why is Bhagwan. Personality who's endowed with 6 opulences. Aishwarasya, Samagrasya, Virasya, Yasasya, Shriya, Gyan, Vairagya. One who has complete opulence, one who has complete beauty, one who has complete strength, fame, knowledge and renunciation. This is only Bhag. And one who holds those opulences is called Van, Bhagwan. Who's going to tell that? This is a missing link where people, they are not getting any kind of education. How we have to, visit temple, how we have to even pay obeisances to the temple, the deities, how we have to even do parikrama of the tulasi and the deities. There's no one to tell. Just go there, see them, they will give some charnamrit, some prasad, give donation. Oh, we visit temple. It's a very pious day. That's all. But if coming here, you're going to hear what? Beautiful songs, philosophy, so many details about Krishna, about Bhagwan.
Please forgive me, but I don't want you to be late.
Hare Krishna.
It's only a 2-hour slot of the whole Rathayatra.
Okay, otherwise my whole lecture will start. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Yes. So we are going back or just prasad?
Yeah, prasad.
Okay, so we are ending up here. I'm sorry for the delay. We are having a Rath Yatra, so prasadam is ready, so we are skipping the kirtan right now. Everyone, raise your hands. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Gaur Premanande.
Hari Bol.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Gracias. Mahaprasad ki
Jai.
Mahaprasade
Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swalpa Punyapatam Rajan Vishwaso Naiva Jayate
Sharira Vidyaja Jadendriya Kal Jive Phale Vishay Sagare Tarvante Jivati Logumai Sugurmati Take Jatha Katir Samsare Krishna Bada Dayamoy Parivar Jiva Joy Saprasad Andilo Bhai Se Amrita Paur Radha Krishna Gundaga Preme Dako Chaitanya Nitai Sai Chaitanya Bole Prema Bhare Dakore Daya Nitai
Jaya Gaur, Jaya Nitai, Jaya Gaur. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Shila Gurudev ki jai, Prabhupada ki jai, Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Shri Radha Govind Dev Ji ki jai, Gaur Premanande, Hari Shri Shyamala Devi ki jai.